things are getting out of control in the United States. If you've been following the news, you'll know that Trump has been making headlines left and right for all the wrong reasons. Today, we're going to focus on one of the biggest developments, the trade war with China. Yeah, you heard that right. Trump has officially escalated tensions by slapping huge tariffs on Chinese goods, and China isn't taking this lightly. In fact, they've fired back, warning that they're ready for any type of war. So Trump has announced a new blanket tariff increase on Chinese goods, pushing the tariff from 10% to 20%. This is a significant escalation. But how is China responding, and what does this mean for both countries? Well, stick around to find out. So what exactly is happening here? Well, yesterday, the US raised tariffs on imported Chinese goods to 20%. In response, China immediately retaliated with its own set of tariffs, targeting key American exports like soybeans, pork, and even fruits and dairy. What makes this particularly interesting is that China is focusing on products that are popular in key farming states, the ones that helped get Trump elected in the first place. But let's get this straight. This isn't just about tariffs. This is also a strategic battle. China is using tariffs to target American farmers because they are a significant part of Trump's base. This is a move that's meant to hit Trump where it hurts, trying to weaken the political support for these escalating tariffs. But here's where it gets really interesting. While the media is making a big deal out of these tariff increases, one respected economist argues that Trump's tariffs don't even make China's top 3 challenges.
I strongly believe this time around, tariff is no longer a big issue. I would even, if you give me an order of 3 top issues in China or challenges in China, I don't even put top 3, even among the top 3, the tariff from President Trump. In fact, the whole economy was preparing for 40% or even 60% of tariff hike from President Trump. Now he's only imposing 10%. Of course, there are indirect tariff upon Chinese products from Mexico, from Canada, from Europe. But overall, it's still smaller than people anticipated. It's smaller than the year of 2018.
Now, it's also important to consider the timing of all of this. This tariff escalation comes at the same time as China's 2 sessions meeting, one of the country's largest political events, where 3,000 delegates gathered to discuss key economic policies. And during this meeting, the Chinese government announced that it's targeting an economic growth rate of about 5% for 2025. But why is Trump imposing these tariffs in the first place? Well, part of his justification centers around the US fentanyl crisis. So fentanyl is a powerful painkiller, and much of the world's supply of fentanyl ingredients comes from China. Unfortunately, fentanyl has become a major problem in the US, with thousands of Americans dying from overdoses every year. Trump has blamed China for this crisis. I mean, are we surprised? Saying that Chinese producers are responsible for the illegal flow of fentanyl into the US. Now, here's the thing. China actually produces a lot of fentanyl for medical use, and it's used in hospitals around the world, especially for terminal cancer patients facing severe pain. But it's also true that a lot of fentanyl has been diverted into illegal channels. And that's where the US crisis stems from. See, and this is exactly why I always motivate people to comment, because even when I watch other videos, the comments, like all you guys commenting is just amazing. Like, listen to all these different points of views, right? Keep in mind, China does not export fentanyl. China exports various chemicals that can be eventually made into fentanyl. And China sells those chemicals to countries all over the world. Still keeping in mind, China doesn't have a fentanyl problem. Asian countries in general doesn't have a fentanyl problem. Europe does not have a fentanyl problem. At least not as awful as the fentanyl problem in America. What that tells you is drug problems requires two strong forces to control. One is culture, another one is government. And America failed at both. China has gone above and beyond to address the issue. Like, don't forget, back in 2019, China made fentanyl-related substances a controlled substance, meaning they're now regulated by law. China has also worked with US authorities to combat the illegal trade of fentanyl. Despite this, Trump's administration continues to point fingers at China, blaming them for the entire problem. So that just tells you, like, China's just a scapegoat, right? Like, look here. The US is using China as its scapegoat for the US's poor economic and political decisions, right? Rather than admitting its error, it blames other countries for its economic woes. In fact, just this week, China released a white paper outlining all the steps that they've taken to help with the fentanyl crisis. The document highlights China's efforts, including regulating fentanyl ingredients and working with international authorities. But instead of recognizing these efforts, the US government continues to blame China, imposing tariffs as a form of pressure. China's foreign affairs spokesperson says, "Let me reiterate that intimidation does not scare us. Bullying does not work on us. Pressure, coercion, or threats are not the right way of dealing with China. Anyone using maximum pressure on China is picking the wrong guy and miscalculating. If the US has another agenda in mind, and if war is what the US wants, be a tariff war, a trade war, or any other type of war, we're ready to fight until the end." So honestly, what does this all mean for the US-China trade war? As I mentioned earlier, some experts believe that Trump's tariffs aren't even close to being the biggest issue facing China right now. Like Lu Feng pointed out, that the tariffs are a relatively small factor in China's economy. In fact, China had already prepared for even higher tariffs, right? So this 10% increase feels like less of a threat than many really anticipated. The US, not anyone else, is responsible for the fentanyl crisis inside the US. In the spirit of humanity and goodwill towards the American people, we have taken robust steps to assist the US in dealing with this issue. This is obvious to all, and people from various sectors in the US have expressed thanks to China on multiple occasions. But instead of recognizing our efforts, the US has sought to vilify and shift the blame to China and is seeking to pressure and blackmail China with tariff hikes. And by the way, I feel like Trump is spiraling, right? There's something really going on there because, I mean, the heated argument with the Ukrainian president Zelensky that got so heated, him and Musk, I don't know what kind of business they doing there, but it's like Musk is the president. So everything is like Trump is really just spiraling and it's going all wrong for the US right there. And China's just like, you know what, you're not even on our top 3. We're not going to worry about you. Like this comment says it perfectly. Let China sleep, for when she wakes, she will shake the world. The world is starting to shake. So will Trump's tariffs really hurt China? Probably not in the way he expects. China has been building resilience for years, and this trade war just seems to be strengthening their position. Like this comment actually says it perfectly. More likely, China is keeping the US busy while China continues its forward-looking economic advances. But the question is, to finish off, will the US realize that its drug problem won't be solved by blaming China? But I would love to hear from you. As I could see, like, I love reading the comments, sharing it with you, because, you know, we all just know more together, right? Talking about it, discussing it. Do you think that tariffs are an effective way to handle the trade war, or is China already ahead of the game? So let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. But as always, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.